Hello again, everyone. Where do I start? I've heard a lot of people over the years say that they don't feel like they belong in this world. That they don't feel like they fit in to, I would say society is probably what they're reflecting. But often this leads to suicidal thoughts, of course, but that's not where I'm leaning towards here. I'm talking about the average person who, through their life, tries his best or her best to fit into the paradigms that we've created, knowing in their heart that it's not where they want to be or what they want to do, but feeling that obligation of, say, having to provide. To give an example, someone turns 18, they get married, they have a child. The man starts to work at a job that he doesn't really like, but he does it because he needs to provide for his family. 20 years later, he's still working that job, he still hates it, but it's all he knows. And then he continues after his kids are gone to work at this job because he has a retirement coming. And by the time he's 65, he looks back and says, why didn't I do more of what I wanted to do in life? On the other hand, there's also the guy who says, I'm not going to do any of this. I'm going to go out and I'm going to hike the mountains and I'm going to travel. And then when they're 60, look back and say, I haven't done anything. I haven't worked towards anything. And that's not always the case. I would say that the person, I'm going to try to cover this microphone because it's a little windy. Making a video. Kids. I'm not going to say that either one is a better way to be. There's going to be individuals who decide to follow their passion their whole life, and maybe that's good for them. Maybe the guy who's 60, who's never worked or done anything or built anything, maybe he's satisfied. It just depends on the person, and it depends on the circumstance and situation. But what I'm really trying to convey here is that each person, each individual, we all have feelings of doubt about our connection. I don't think there are many individuals out there who really believe that they were born to serve some other person, to work for their company and build them profits. And I don't think there was anybody who was born and said, I want to pay taxes and I want to do paperwork and I want to hassle, Like as an entrepreneur, I run my own business. I hate it sometimes, but I love it sometimes. It's a matter of knowing that it could be worse, could be better, Some people who don't work as an entrepreneur, a lot of people say, God, you're lucky, I wish I worked for myself. And say, but you never have any actual time off. You're always trying to answer questions or have some thoughts about how to improve the business. And there are months when you make nothing. Whereas when you work for someone else, you have, consistent pay. But meanwhile, it can work both ways. The person who works as an entrepreneur may say, God, sometimes I just want to work for somebody else and not have to deal with that. In other words, the grass is always greener on the other side. And that's what we as humans have to realize. That feeling of insecurity or inadequacy is what brings on these feelings of not connecting to the world. So I guess the message, before I just blab on about it, that I'm really trying to convey here is that everyone feels that non-connection. I should say I feel it, and most people I've met feel it. Everyone I've met feels it, so they say. But I can only feel through my own heart and my own mind. So I'm hoping that will inspire somebody out there who just doesn't feel like they fit in to say that you do fit in. You just have to find the lock. It's not going to present itself to you. You have to seek that lock. You have to find your path. It's so metaphoric. I can see myself going down a path and saying, oh, if I take this turn because I'm pulled this direction, then it's not, it's not the right way to go because I don't feel it. It doesn't feel right. But sometimes you do have to take an uncomfortable path to avoid a major pitfall, so to speak. And so it's not a matter of just floating along in life and taking the easiest path. It's never that simple, at least not in my experience. But seeing the mistakes you've made and using that to slowly, it's like climbing a tree where you can't see the top of the tree or where the branches lead. Okay, you start climbing up and you might climb a branch and get around it and realize it's a dead end and go out on that limb and you can't get up. But eventually you climb up to the top and then you realize that there are taller trees out there that you can see. And so it's back down to start again. That's what life is. It's climbing trees, it's cycles, it's living. It is what it is. So we're all uncomfortable. We all have the feeling of not fitting in. And that means we all have the same capacity to make it work for us. Because if we had a feeling that we all fit in, it would mean that everything's laid out for us and simple. You see what I mean? That if we really felt like we were part of something, it would mean that everything's already set up for us. You know, we have to find our own truth. It's essential. And at 41 now, I'm still working on that. You know, I'm still trying to figure out who I am and what my path is, because I've had to bite the bullet and do some things I didn't want to do. We all do. That's life. But tomorrow is tomorrow, and today is today. You know, it's not even about tomorrow. It's always about right now. About now. Take care, everyone.